Welcome to Health Talks. Here we are decoding health with the experts who live in with. Today's guest, Dr. Apsia Ruhi, who is a specialist endocrinologist. She is here to help people to understand the power of hormones in everyday health. From diabetes to thyroid and PCOS, she is here to simplify what's complex and share real practical steps to stay balanced and healthy. Let's dive in and learn how small life changes can make a big difference. Welcome, Dr. Apsia Ruhi.
Thank you so much for this introduction, Ms. Shanas. Let's start our discussion.
So, what made you choose endocrinology? What are the things you understood about hormones and which pushed you to take this specialist?
Yeah, the first main reason for the endocrinology is that endocrinology is a branch which covers most of the organs of our body as well as in every phase of our life. For an example, suppose the newborn is there. So we deal with congenital adrenal hyperplasia, which is related to the adrenal glands where the child suffer. Then if going to the childhood phase, we deal with growth issues, tall stature, short stature, pubertal issues if there is delayed puberty or early we call it as precocious puberty, and important phase again reproductive phase, diabetes, thyroid, hormones imbalance, irregularities in menses, and pregnancy, infertility. Once this is done, again we are dealing with the old age with osteoporosis. So endocrinology is type of a super specialty which we deal with every phase. So this could be the main reason which made me interested, so that we deal with every kind of people so that we can help each kind with their own issues.
Okay. So, even though it's 2025, people are not still aware how thyroid functions. And it's not a disease, it's a hormonal condition. You understand better. So, what is the one thing you want to educate to your patients who has this condition and how they should take it?
Actually, thyroid is not a disease. Thyroid gland is there in all of us.
Yeah.
We have a butterfly shaped gland in the lower part of the neck. The thyroid gland is expected to give the thyroid hormones. This thyroid hormone production can be abnormal, sometimes could be on the lower side, sometimes could be on the higher side, which we deal and give the treatment appropriately. So we need not deal with the thyroid one because it's not a big disease. It's just a gland which could be sometimes underactive, sometimes overactive. So if we balance the remaining hormones, we can manage the thyroid. Diet changes, especially if we are having couple of changes in our diet which is rich in selenium, zinc, vitamin D, avoiding couple of foods like cabbage, cauliflower and soy products, also making the salt into iodized salt if it's a hypothyroid, avoiding the iodized salt in hyperthyroid. These couple of changes if you try to make, we can help ourselves and the thyroid gland rather than getting injured.
Okay. So, we hear a lot about hormonal imbalance. So, what is that, and how I should identify as a person that my hormones are balanced or imbalanced, and how to identify that?
Okay, so first to understand hormonal imbalance, let's understand actually what is the role of the hormones in our body, how this role hormones are playing an important role. So the usually we have a couple of endocrine glands, could be a thyroid releasing the T3, T4. We have adrenal glands releasing the cortisol, aldosterone, metanephrines. We have pancreas giving insulin, which is abnormal if it lands up with diabetes. Pituitary, which gives couple of hormones. So whenever we have hormonal imbalance, usually it's either the pituitary, ovaries, or adrenals. These are either one of them could be a problematic or all could be. So if we deal with the pituitary, we have reproductive hormones in the form of FSH, we have thyroid hormone like TSH, we have stress hormone ACTH and milk hormone. Suppose most of the times we hear that there is a hormonal imbalance. I had irregular periods. There was a hormonal imbalance. I had infertility. What is this hormonal imbalance? Usually suppose that person is in stress. So if usually whenever we are in stress, the stress hormone gets released. It's natural part of the body. The stress hormone is a cortisol. So cortisol is increased. Immediately when the cortisol is increased, because brain is the boss of these hormones, brain will think that already this person has lot of cortisol in their body. Brain tries to compensate. It's a negative feedback mechanism. So, but the pituitary doesn't give only cortisol. It gives the remaining hormones, reproductive, thyroid, cortisol. So it tries to suppress all of them, not only the cortisol related hormone. So now pituitary is suppressing your FSH, so reproductive hormones are decreased. So that person who is in stress lands up with irregular periods because
Okay.
FSH are very important for the menses. So because they were abnormal, the menses became irregular. Because irregular menses are there, infertility becomes a problem.
Okay.
Because the thyroid is abnormal, the thyroid function gets deranged.
Okay.
So it's the hormonal imbalance, one hormone impacting the others. This actually in endocrine we call it endocrine domino effect.
Okay.
One hormone if abnormal leading to the remaining hormone abnormalities. Suppose
Okay.
if I have to explain you in a simple way, suppose we have a target to do a birthday function. We have couple of persons who are doing one person will be with the light, one person will be with the flooring, one person will be the flower section, one person will. So suppose if
Okay.
every person is doing their own function on their own pace,
Okay.
so what will happen is we don't know when the work will finish. There is no theme work. So it's like every person is doing on their own. So
Own
he will
job.
choose his
Okay.
own color. So the flooring person will choose his own color. The
Okay.
dining table person will choose his own arrangement. But suppose we have one boss, one person who is telling this is the theme. So the lighting should be in this section.
Okay.
So the flooring should be in this color. So the arrangement should be in this color so that everything will be appropriate. In the first phase, it's a hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
Every organ is doing its own independent function in a chaotic way. The final result will be in the chaos. That is hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
But suppose we have a boss, which is the pituitary, which is guiding all the hormones. This is abnormal, so that will become low. So if this is low, this will become high. So in this way, it is guiding and organizing in a proper way, keeping our hormones in a proper way. So this is hormonal balance. So whenever we are stressed, usually we have the hormonal imbalance.
Okay. So when it comes to women, mainly from once they touch 35 up to 45, there are a lot of hormonal changes happens with the women body. So what are the advices you will give to take precautions and to maintain your health without a big drawback?
So because we ladies usually go through a lot of changes. We have puberty, then we have the changes of our structure, then followed by the pregnancy. In pregnancies, weight changes will happen, hormonal changes will happen. Because of all these changes, and more than that, estrogen hormone. Estrogen hormone, when compared to testosterone hormone, usually it maintains a feminine features, and also the bone strength will be not as strong as the testosterone. So we usually go through a lot of hormonal changes. Along with that, because of the obesity, because of the pregnancies, we go through. So we are prone to get osteoporosis, bone changes, hormonal changes, mood swings, and we also every month we go through the hormonal phase. In the initial phase, after the menses, we have follicular phase where estrogen will be on the higher side. After 14 days, we have progesterone phase again. These hormones will be different. So because of this, usually I say proper lifestyle always will help for women. Seed cycling during the ovarian phase and the follicular phase in different way, as well as I can say that have maintained your nutrition in such a way. Usually Indians, what they do is they usually try to have a carb and fat food. Suppose they have 80% of the carbs with little bit of curry in the form of vegetable or non-veg, but there is no vitamins, there are no minerals, which are actually an antioxidants. Because our body is expected to produce the toxic materials because of the metabolism. They should be flushed out. We need not take separate detox. If you are taking the vitamins and minerals in a proper way in a daily basis, natural detox happens. So if you are maintaining the natural detox, maintaining a weight, never allowing it to become obese, and maintaining little bit of changes during the hormonal phases, especially the lifestyle, yoga, workout, it really helps. And in the end phase, after 40, everyone is expected to take calcium and vitamin D supplements.
Okay. So PCOS, thyroid, and insulin issues seems so common now, right? Especially from young women to children itself, it starts these days a lot of changes in the health. So what is the one thing you would suggest and why it is happening?
So usually what happened is the PCOS is very common. Now if I can say that the prevalence is approximately 30%. In a simple way, out of 3 women, 1 woman has the PCOS. What is the reason for that? First, the main basic reason is because of our weight, lifestyle. In previous generation, in the childhood, we never were obese because after coming from the school, usually we go out, we play. So the calories used to get burnt. Nowadays, because of the latest generations, because of the mobile, the kid after coming from the school, they don't get bored. Continuously, once they start 24 hours, even if they watch the mobile, there is nothing which gets bored, because every time the screen changes,
Okay.
because of which the weight goes on increasing, and we end into the pubertal phase with obesity. Once what is happening is, once we are into obese phase, so it means the fat cells are increasing.
Okay.
The fat cells are actually not inert, they just is not a fat cell. It
Okay.
usually release lot of hormones. The main important hormone is the leptin.
Okay.
Leptin, suppose if this is there, this is actually hormone. Once the fat cell increases, more leptin is there. Leptin is a telling the hormone which tells stop eating. So
Okay.
now the calories are excess in the body. Now you just stop eating. This is the hormone which tells us. But what is happening is, there is increased leptin. It is expected that this leptin increase will go to the pituitary, and pituitary will step. Satiety center will be activated, and we should stop eating. But because of this stress, what is happening is, because of the adipose cells, there is a lot of inflammatory markers released in the form of like interleukins, adiponectin, resistin. These are the hormones which cause inflammation in the body. So there is a generalized inflammation in the body. Because of this inflammation, there is increased stress hormone released, the cortisol. This acts as a barrier. Now the leptin is shouting stop eating, but pituitary is not able to hear it, because there is a barrier created. So now what is happening? The pituitary is thinking that there is no leptin, there is, the person is hungry, they is starving, there is no calories.
Okay.
So now the pituitary starts releasing ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone.
Okay.
We feel hungry. Even if we just had food, we feel hungry, we start eating food again. So once we start eating food, automatically, because we eat lot of carbs, the carb will increase, the glucose intake will be increased.
Okay.
Because whenever there is a glucose spike, there is an insulin spike. When insulin spike is there, automatically there is an insulin resistance.
Okay.
Again increased resistance, leptin will. So this is a vicious circle. So in this, what is happening is, because of this hormonal imbalances, because of the leptin, which is not able to create a proper communication to the pituitary, the person starts overeating.
Okay.
Within couple of hours after eating food, again the person feels hungry, again starts eating. So this cycle goes on, and from overweight they'll end up with obesity. And once obesity has reached, insulin resistance is there, this is a benchmark for all the problems. From there, the person lands up with pre-diabetes, then diabetes, hypertension, thyroid issues, stroke, cardiac issues, everything will continue from there. So the basic, we should start from where the leptin, if suppose that leptin could have been managed, where the leptin was able to tell that this person has enough carbohydrate stores. So the pituitary would have stopped telling the same one. Now the GLP-1 analogs are doing in the market. Now there is a lot of boom in the market that GLP-1 will tell the brain not to eat. That's actually naturally our body is doing leptin.
Okay.
But because of that miscommunication, it is not happening. But now you can say, now I can take leptin. Can I take leptin so that I can stop my eating?
Okay.
But already the person has lot of leptin. The adipose tissue, the fatty tissue is already giving leptin. The problem is communication.
Okay.
It is not able to communicate to the pituitary. So that communication barrier is because of stress.
Okay.
Once you manage the stress, lifestyle, activity, we don't need anything else. We don't need even the GLP-1 analogs to reduce our weight.
Okay. And also to support all this stress, overeating and things and all, I guess like the 24 hours availability or the food
Yes,
here in this
access.
country is also a major concern and supporting factor to like increase the stress level and obesity, I guess.
Yeah, I can say the economy also, because previously in the prior generations, getting 3 times food itself was a big task. Nowadays, our children are getting that very easily. They know that they will get it. They are choosing for the luxury. So in that part, exercise has decreased, playing has decreased, and comfort has increased, accessibility has increased. So it's from there the journey started.
So how much do you think that the stress level increases once the screen time has been like increased and the sleep routine has changed? How much it affects? Basically, for example, if I'm instead of taking 8 hours of sleep, I have got only 4 hours of sleep. So how much stress level will this increase because of this?
So in our body, as we have discussed, the pituitary is the main master gland in the body. It's hardly a size of a chickpea, like hardly 1 gram, but it is the boss of all the hormones. Suppose that person, because that has its own axis, circadian rhythm we call. Circadian rhythm means it has its own phase. The early morning, the hormones are mostly on the higher side. By mid-afternoon, like by evening, 4 o'clock, like that, they will be on the half side. And by evening, by 10 to 11 p.m., they are actually on the minimal side. So, and then once the cortisol levels are on the minimal, now one of the hormone called melatonin starts increasing. Once there is a melatonin, then only we will get get a sleep.
Okay. Okay.
Suppose if you are having screen time, especially the blue wavelength light, so if because the melatonin stimulation is only darkness.
Okay.
When there is no darkness, melatonin will never be secreted even if you don't sleep for 24 hours.
Okay.
So darkness is the stimulation for that. So once that room becomes dark, once the lights are off, then slowly melatonin starts increasing. Within couple of minutes, once it increases, then we get our sleep. The
Okay.
cortisol will be on the lowest, melatonin will be on the highest, and we sleep. Then next day, maybe by 6 a.m., 7 a.m., again the melatonin will start decreasing, cortisol levels rise. Once the cortisol is at the peak, we get up. So this is how it is happening. Suppose because of the shift timings, because of the mobile watching, because of the extra work, project work, we usually keep the laptop on, screen on, lights on will be there. So because of this, melatonin is never released. There is no melatonin. Obviously, the cortisol continues. So from whole day, from the morning, cortisol is already working. It needs its rest so that it can again get up freshly next day morning. But there is no rest for the cortisol. It is continuously secreting the whole day. And there is no time for the melatonin to be released. So that person doesn't have sleep. No sleep, highest cortisol, everything gets imbalanced. Once cortisol is on the higher side, because of the endocrine domino effect, other hormones get affected. So the frustration, irritation, irritability, easy fatigue, short-temperedness, weight gain, mood swings, skin changes, all will start.
And for example, if someone is facing health concerns because of obesity and all, and by get motivated via Instagram reels and things and all, they suddenly start doing impulsive like weight treatments and goes to the gym and does a lot of hard workouts over there and things and all. So how do you think that this will also be like increase the stress level? Do you think that is also a factor?
Yes, surely, because it's not one day treatment. Here, this is the entire life journey. Now, suppose we took treatment, either the molecules or the lifestyle or keto diet or low carb diet, we took for 2 months. Now, what is happening? There is no carb intake. You don't take any carbs, but carbs are required for the body for the daily metabolism. The organs depend on the glucose. Now, there is no carb in the body. Automatically, leptin will decrease, ghrelin will increase,
Yeah.
hunger will increase. We have lot of cravings. We cannot control our cravings.
Okay.
So we struggle for a couple of hours. We try to manage. We drink fluid. We drink some water. But it couldn't be. At some point of time, we couldn't. We just break that and then we start eating
Okay.
like voraciously. Then again, there is insulin spike, glucose spike, insulin resistance. So it should be in a proper way. So have proper meals with low carbohydrate, high protein meals with a little bit of fat portion.
Okay.
Maintain it so that slowly leptin understands what is happening. The main culprit for all our obesity and PCOS insulin resistance is leptin resistance. Once leptin resistance is modified, insulin resistance decrease. Once this decreases, the PCOS, all the pattern improves. So if you do only few days, the small changes in the leptin ghrelin will happen. But finally, again the hormones come back and they play their role. So we should be in a way that we'll slowly understand the hormones that, okay, I need this time, this food I'll take, this much of calories I'll be increasing. So this much of insulin is expected to be increased. And that's how slowly I'll try to burn these calories. So if we make our body understand, so rather than going against the hormones, let's play with the hormones, let's understand the hormones and let's modify our diet in that way.
So and also like when it comes to like autoimmunity, which is a new thing coming up, most of the people are having. How to identify this if I'm gonna get a thyroid condition? So do you think and do you suggest to take the patient to take this test as well as an identification how the person got this condition?
Yes, because what happened is previously, usually most of the doctors used to do only the thyroid panel as T3, T4, TSH. It is just a panel which helps us to understand how much thyroid is functioning and how much we have to give externally. So that the person's metabolism, because thyroid is a hormone of metabolism, mood and energy. So we need certain amount of production based on the body weight, based on the person's metabolism. Even if we all have the same thyroid gland, but the production from the thyroid gland, the hormone production is not same.
Okay.
For the person's body weight, for the person's metabolism, the hormone secretion changes. Suppose for your body weight, we have some approximate 1.6 mics per kg. We calculate and do. Suppose if the person is already hypothyroid, means the body is not able to give enough hormone. So we are supplementing from outside so that the person's metabolism gets balanced. But this is only for the point of view for the dosage change.
Okay.
But if you want to know that if you have any, what is the reason for your hypothyroid, why your thyroid is not able to function, you have to do the entire panel. The entire panel includes the free hormones T3 and T4, TSH, and antibodies in the form of thyroid peroxidase antibody and thyroglobulin antibody. Because hypothyroidism sometimes can be transient, especially in the post-infections like subacute thyroiditis. This person start the medication because the TSH will behave, but unnecessarily they use for whole life. But they don't need it. It's just a temporary phase where for 6 months to 2 years they need medicine because the thyroid is already hurt.
Okay.
They need some help because the thyroid needs some healing. So we give the supplements, we make the thyroid heal, and then we stop the medication. But for a person who is using for years, probable diagnosis is autoimmune thyroiditis. But we need to confirm it. That confirmation is only by these antibodies. These antibodies are auto-antibodies. It means usually we have something sensor in our body where it will detect that this is our own cell, this is a foreign cell. Once it's a foreign cell, it kills it. Own cell, they don't do anything. This is a normal mechanism, immunity. But sometimes for few persons, this will be missed and the body starts attacking their own organs.
Okay.
So this is called autoimmunity, self-destruction. So now for the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, the persons, the body is releasing antibodies like TPO and TG, which are actually the thyroid peroxidase and thyroglobulin as a natural content of our thyroid gland. They are the enzymes which help to convert iodine in the diet to that of the thyroid hormones, because iodine is a raw material. It needs to be converted to T3, T4 inside the organ. It needs some enzymes. So those enzymes are the TPO and TG. So they help, they take out the iodine, they multiply, they do some oxidation coupling, they make it T3, T4. Now these enzymes are destroyed by your own body. So so because there are no enzymes, iodine is not converted. Because iodine is not converted to T3, T4 is not enough. The person is having low T3, T4, because of which the person is landing up with hypothyroidism.
So we are at our end of our podcast. This is my last question to you. So if you could suggest just one lifestyle change which would lead to better hormonal health, what would it be?
Suppose, because we have said that a lot of things are there, exercise, weight, diet, lifestyle, fruits, vegetables. In all of this, the main important factor is sleep.
Okay.
So if you maintain that 7 to 9 hours of not any time sleep, it should be a midnight sleep.
Okay.
So especially after 11 p.m. to that of 8 a.m. Between these hours, we should have our 7 to 9 hours sleep. So I'll tell you how it will help. So once you are sleeping by 11 p.m., you shut down everything and your brain is shut down. So once this is done, the cortisol automatically shuts down. It takes some rest. So the brain axis starts again repairing itself. Then melatonin rises. We get our sleep, we get our energy. Then immediately once this is done, the growth hormone is released. Growth hormone is essential even for us adults for the repairing of the cells, because every day there is 5 to 10% of the cells turnover will happen. Old cells will die, new cells will recover. So that recovery, repairing phase will happen. Once this is done, because of the endocrine domino effect, cortisol is normal, growth is normal, the thyroid, the prolactin, the remaining, the reproductive hormones, they again come in a phase. Because of this, because you have a proper sleep, you get up early morning fresh. If this is disturbed, even if you get up with a proper 6 hours sleep, you feel that early morning the need in sleep is not enough. You have fatigue, you get like irritation, insomnia feeling. So once you have a proper sleep, you get up very fresh. You start your day with a proper workout, proper exercise, and the calorie in and out balanced, and there is no imbalance anywhere. So there is no hormonal disturbance, there is no leptin resistance, there is no insulin resistance, no PCOS. This all are sorted out with one simple solution.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for coming today and giving us a lot of tips and how to make our hormonal imbalances and how to lead a healthy lifestyle. You have given us a lot of inputs today. I'm happy to have you here, and I hope next session also I will conduct with you, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shehnaz and your team. This is a great one because a lot of people have so many issues, but they don't have information what to do. So this really helps if suppose we manage our lifestyle, so many things can happen. So if everyone knows this, actually no doctors are required.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.